Hey folks, it's Richard Haick with Zennie62. It just came to my attention that Lanny Poffo, if you guys watched WWF back in the 80s and early 90s, Leaping Lanny Poffo later became the Genius Lanny Poffo. And he was also more known as Randy Macho Man Savage's little brother. Anyways, he passed away on Thursday. And I didn't know. I've been off of social media for a few days now. I'm trying to take a break and see what happens. But anyways, so yeah, it occurred to me that it had happened. You know, I was a big fan in the 80s. And kind of continued off and on into the 90s and the 2000s. And I'm kind of bored of it now. But anyways, funny story. Back in the mid-90s, I get a phone call, and the guy is trying to sell me a what do they call them, secured credit card. And the guy's like, "Hi, this is Lanny Poffo, and I'm MasterCard or whoever it was, and you know, and we think you'd be a great fit for this card or whatever." And he's halfway through his pitch, and I'm like, wait. I'm like, "Did you say your name's Lanny Poffo?" And he's like, "Yes." I'm like, "You know, like the wrestler?" And he's like, "Yes." And he started going through his character on the phone, which I thought was hilarious. And then he's like, "You know, Macho Man's my brother." And then he goes through like the best Macho Man, impression that I've ever heard. I've seen a lot of guys do the Macho Man. Hulk Hogan actually does a really good Macho Man. But anyways, I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, why is this guy calling me? Like, I used to watch him on Saturday mornings, and now he's calling me trying to sell a credit card, which I didn't realize at the time how crappy wrestling really was. If you go back and you watch some of these stories and stuff, Jesse Ventura, a lot of people know as the Body. He was the Minnesota governor at one point. He'd done some action movies with Schwarzenegger. Anyways, he had talked about how Hulk Hogan killed the idea of unionizing wrestling. So these guys have like no health plans. They're getting paid pennies on the dollar. They were responsible for a lot of their own travel, most of it by car. If you ever watch any of these wrestling bits, these guys talking about their careers, they spent most of their lives in hotels and carpooling with other wrestlers from town to town, several towns a night, just trying to scratch by. You know, reading stuff about like Junkyard Dog, who was scratching his way through life. You know, he was trying to drive to his daughter's high school graduation when he died. You know, it's a tough life. Jake the Snake Roberts, who everybody knew back then. I mean, this guy, he's a mess. You know, he's nearly died several times. Of course, you know, you got your other guys too. You know, your Scott Hall. He actually, you know, did die. And then, you know, a lot of people know Scott Hall as crap, I forgot his gimmick. But anyways, you know, anyways, yeah. So that call was weird because like I didn't realize how tough it was to make a living in the wrestling business. Even if you're related to a guy like Randy Savage, who was one of the most popular wrestlers in history, and definitely in that time was very popular, and was still going strong in WWE or WCW. You know, yeah, it's sad though, you know. But that was a funny story of Leaping Lanny Poffo. You know, but yeah, he died last week apparently of heart-related issues as well. Like his brother, Randy Savage, died of a heart attack and then crashed his Jeep into like a telephone pole or a tree. It wasn't the crash that killed him. He actually died from a heart attack while driving. So, anyway, so yeah, Lanny, Poffo, man, that's a tough one. All those guys are gone now. If you go through the roster of the 80s wrestling, you know, there's only a couple guys still alive. You know, Hulk Hogan's still alive. Tito Santana's still alive. The Iron Sheik is still alive. By the way, if you're on Twitter, follow that guy. He's fucking hilarious. He's just a bitter old man, and there's something really funny and endearing about it. Apparently, he had like a huge crack problem, and that's not funny, but just his life. You know, he's a funny guy. But anyways, yeah, all those guys. Andre the Giant's dead. I think King Kong Bundy has died recently. Big John Studd dead. Ultimate Warrior died the day after he was in the Hall of Fame. Macho Man died. You know, Bobby Heenan's gone. You know, British Bulldog's dead. Rowdy Roddy Piper's dead. You know, just you know, everybody knows of Owen Hart. That's Bret Hart's little brother. He died in the ring. You know, most of those guys are gone. Scott Hall's dead. Mr. Perfect Kurt Henning's dead. I mean, Big Bam. Yeah, Big Bam. Bam Bigelow's dead. The Big Boss Man's dead. It's like one after the next. These guys, they're not long for this world. Wrestling's a tough business. It's a. I used to want to be a wrestler when I was a kid, honestly. I spent a lot of time in Houston, and wrestling was huge there, and I saw all these guys when they were nobodies. It was really funny, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I got a bunch of autographs from him at Houston Wrestling. Sting was another one of those guys. Ted DiBiase, another guy who was dead. Dr. Death Steve Williams. They tried to give him a push in the WWF, but his drug problem was already an issue, and he was having trouble. But yeah, there's just a lot of these guys who just drop dead. Whether it's because of steroids or the hard life. Painkiller addiction is huge in wrestling. You know, you got the Chris Benoits of the world who went crazy and, you know, and hurt themselves and others. And, you know, that's, you know, it's a tough one. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up, though. But, yeah, Leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius. Remember, I caught a Frisbee from him at the Oakland at the arena in Oakland. And, I don't know, I want to say like 87 or 88. He used to write poems and read them on the mic, and then throw the Frisbees in the crowd. It was a weird gimmick, but you know, it was cool. So he's one of those guys who stuck with me through life, as one of those guys who I always looked out for, and was like, yeah, he was always interesting to me. But anyways. Hopefully, we'll have some baseball stuff coming up. I'm supposed to go to Las Vegas for the MLB weekend thing they're doing with the A's, and I believe they're playing the Reds, if I remember right, the Reds. And then if I get lucky, I might make it out to Arizona. I don't want to do Vegas, but I have some family issues there that I need to attend to, and hopefully kill a few birds with one stone. But yeah, so I'll be doing some stuff from there, and then hopefully you know, baseball happens, and things are, I don't know, nothing new on the ballpark front. Apparently the A's are still doing stuff down in Las Vegas. Apparently Dave Cavell had to register as a what do they call those guys? He's a guy, a lobbyist. He had to register as a lobbyist, so that means he's down there making things happen. We haven't heard anything happening here. We got a new mayor, and apparently she hasn't even talked to him yet. But yeah, anyways guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Keep watching Zennie62. Please like and subscribe, you know, and we'll be back with more stuff. All right guys, take care.